everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about a movie that I've been waiting like more than 15 years for. That is Super Troopers 2. But before we get into that, you already know what to do. Well, maybe you don't know what to do, because if you did know, you would have done it by now. Subscribe. Thank you. So Super Troopers 2 is a sequel to, guess what? Super Troopers, which I'd say was one of my favorite films ever. It is so funny. It is so hilarious. It is done by this comedy team called Broken Lizard. I'm not going to go through all their names because it's a lot of dudes. Oh, and don't think I'm not going through it because I don't know how to say Jay Chandrasekhar, because I do know how to say Jay Chandrasekhar. I just said it twice. Boom. Okay, so just a quick little plot for the first one. These guys are state troopers for the Vermont Highway Patrol, and they don't really see a lot of action because Vermont is like a low crime area, so they do a lot of zany stuff to entertain themselves on traffic stops. And but they end up running into this drug ring that they're trying to bust. So that's just quick and dirty plot of the first one. So in this movie, some things have changed. They're not with the Vermont Highway Patrol anymore. They were kicked out, and then they became local cops. But then there was this incident with Fred Savage and a ride-along, and then they are no longer cops anymore. So now they're doing things like construction. One of them is a lumberjack. You get the picture. They're just not cops anymore. So then it turns out that a part where Vermont and Canada meet on that northern U.S. border, this area that they thought was Canada actually turns out, through some mistake of surveying or whatnot, to be actually part of the United States. So now they pull the guys from the past, make them state troopers again, and that their post is going to be this area that was once Canada that's becoming the United States, and they are going to be the Vermont Highway Patrol for this area. And there's a bit of transition. There's a lot of resistance from the Canadian to become American citizens in this town, along with the Mounties that were in that town, who are now going to have to be transferred to other places. And so there is some of that headbutting. And then there's also another element of a crime is happening, and they're trying to figure out who's behind it. So you have a lot of people in this one that were not in the first one. So you've got Rob Lowe, Will Sasso, and also Bruce McCullough from Kids in the Hall. So if you don't know Kids in the Hall, it was this huge sketch comedy show that aired originally in Canada. It is very well known throughout the United States as well. It's kind of back in the day. Very, very funny. Bruce McCullough is one of the guys who was part of that sketch comedy group. So it was really nice to see him come through and be hilarious. All right, so this movie, it wasn't like wall-to-wall laughs. There was some things that made me laugh out loud, made some people in the theater laugh out loud, but overall, I think there were some parts that they might not have hit as good as they could have. Like, for instance, there's a scene where they are wearing Mountie uniforms and they're going around pulling people over and pulling kind of pranks on them, kind of like what they did in the first one. And I felt like they could have done more with that. Really, the funniest one was when two of the guys were like speaking French. They weren't really speaking French. They were just stringing a bunch of French words together. And I thought that that one was like the funniest part of that overall scene. But I felt like they could have taken it further and it could have been funnier. Yeah, and then like the first 5 minutes, like that first scene at the beginning of the movie, I was sitting there like, man, I wish I was high. Like, it was funny, but I'm like, if I was high right now, this would be like the best shit ever. So, note for next time. And a note, if you have not seen Super Troopers, you need to see it before you go into Super Troopers 2, because there's a lot of references to jokes and bits that they did in the first movie that are not going to make any sense to you if you don't see this movie. And I know like what a lot of movies try to do these days is they try to make it so that you don't necessarily have to see what came before in order to enjoy the sequel. They don't really attempt to do that in this one. So make sure you see Super Troopers if you have not already. All right, so that is my review for Super Troopers. I mean, it feels like it's shorter than some of my other reviews. Maybe after I edit this, I'm gonna figure out that no, it's about the same. So I would say that if you are a fan of the first Super Troopers movie, this one does not quite capture the magic that that first one did, but I still think it's worth it to go see it if you are in love with that first one. If you have not seen the first one, see the first one before you go into Super Troopers 2. If for some reason you didn't like the first one because you don't know what funny is, then don't see this one. It's not gonna convert you. So another thing I want to mention, that if you want to see everything that I'm watching movie-wise, go to letterboxd.com/chickwithflicks. I keep a diary of all the movies that I see. So sometimes I see movies and I don't do reviews on them per se. So at least you can go there and you can see what I'm watching from day to day. And I'm really trying to put some lists together, like the best movies of 2018 so far. So when I see a good one, I'll add that to the list. Also trying to put together a list of really good documentaries that I have seen. So for the documentary one, if you don't see a documentary there on the list, it's not because necessarily that I didn't think it was good. Maybe it's just I hadn't seen it yet. So just kind of relax. So check me out on letterboxd.com/chickwithflicks. Okay, so thank you for watching this review of Super Troopers 2. I hope that you liked it and I hope that you want to see some more. So if that's the case, and I really hope it is, make sure to hit the subscribe button and then also hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video. I am committing myself to doing Traffic and I Feel Pretty this Sunday. So if you want to know what I think of any of those movies, hit subscribe, do the notification bell. As soon as I put those up, Sunday or Monday, you'll be the first one to know. So thank you, and I will see you on the next one.